Like 25th June, 29th June, 2nd April, 8th March now is the date which will be etched in history, a date when India won yet another World Cup. And at the moment, like other World Cups, this is special, but it's extra special because of the number of firsts that have come with this title. The first team to defend their T20 World Cup crown, that's what India has become. The first team to ever win 3 T20 World Cup crowns, that's another record that has come India's way, which is what makes this particular win extra sweet. And I think it was also the perfect final that the Indian team played. A victory margin of 96 runs in a T20 game, that's unheard of. And why do I say perfect game? Because this particular game is actually a mirror to what India has done throughout the tournament. Everyone that did well ended up doing well today, and other areas as well where Indian team was having a bit of a trouble but backed their players, they also came good today. Let's just run through it. Abhishek Sharma, under tremendous pressure, Indian team backs him, gets the 50, one box done. Sanju Samson, the player of the tournament, out of the playing 11 before the start of the tournament, comes back slowly into it. 3 consecutive half centuries. Now is the man of the moment. Another box tick. Ishan Kishan has been one of your consistent batters. Again, someone who made the T20 World Cup team at the 11th hour. He also gets a half century. Another box tick for you. Shivam Dube's cameo at the end. Whenever there is a crunch game, Shivam Dube chips in with that cameo. That was also done. The all-round show by an Akshar Patel, by a Hardik Pandya. Every time you've needed them to chip in with either the bat or the ball, again, that box also ticked in the final. Jasprit Bumrah being your standout bowler once again, this time picking up 4 wickets. The man of the match in the final, another box tick. So all in all, if you could prepare the recipe for the perfect game, the Indian team played that, and to play it in a final of a World Cup, I think that is what makes this particular feat even more incredible. Now to New Zealand. India were the superior team, but were also helped by some very poor calls by Captain Mitch Santner. In fact, Mitch Santner, the captain, has left a lot to be desired throughout this tournament. He was off the ball many a times, and that continued tactically as well in terms of the changes. McConkey, their off spinner, who had been troubling other teams. India were being troubled by off spinner. He leaves them out of the playing 11. Duffy comes in, goes for a lot of runs. Then bowling changes. Glenn Phillips bowls very well, just gives him that one over. And throughout the time that New Zealand were bowling, one after the other, you had multiple errors, which actually helped India also put up this dominating performance. I think now in hindsight, I'd have to say that South Africa, had they reached the final, they would have been much better opponents, much more worthy opponents versus India in the final than New Zealand. Yes, New Zealand played that one very good game. Dare I say, it was actually just that one knock by Finn Allen, a freak knock that knocked South Africa out, by which New Zealand reached the final. But they were no match to the Indian team. I think South Africa would have offered a much better competition. That's not to say that India wouldn't have won, but I think South Africa were much better equipped to give us a better final than what New Zealand eventually gave us. And why is it that I say that even if South Africa would have come, India would have been favourite? I'll tell you why. Because even though India were the defending champions, which when you're defending champions, that means that you are the best T20 team on the planet. But dare I say, this team under Surya Kumar Yadav has pushed the bar a couple of notches even higher. The way that they have played T20 cricket, the way they've won this particular World Cup and the bilaterals leading up to this World Cup, I have no qualms in saying that this Indian T20 team is the most dominant T20 team ever assembled under the sun. The most dominant T20 team. My idea is not to compare it to Dhoni's team or Rohit Sharma's team. They were also very good. They were good. That's why they won the title. And they were playing the kind of T20 cricket that was played there. But I think the high standards and the template that Indian team is making at the moment in T20 cricket. Everyone is noticing and they're saying that's how we want to be. I don't think that was always the case, even when you were winning T20 World Cup titles. So I think that is one of the biggest achievement of this Indian team. Now to the final and to the pitch. I am seeing a lot of naysayers, a lot of critics talking about, and a lot of this criticism comes from overseas, outside of India. Somehow I do see that whenever Indian cricket does well, there is this sort of jealousy that seems to come in the rest of the cricketing world. Be that as it may, the point I want to focus on is that there was a lot of chatter on social media when India notched up 255 runs that, oh, look at the pitch. Is this the pitch that a final deserves? Is this even cricket, or is this gulli danda? All that kind of chatter started. If you're going to make a pitch like that to favor Indians, so on and so forth. All I want to say is I'm glad a pitch like this was made. And if this pitch was so easy to score runs off, why is it that New Zealand folded up 96 runs short of what India got? India got 255. Yes, it was a good pitch, but they got more than the par total that one could have gotten on that pitch. You put another team batting first, could they have got that many runs? I don't think so. Could any other team have won with this margin? My point is, I think we need to appreciate what this Indian team brings to the table. So stop talking about this sort of pitch or that sort of pitch. The fact is, there is a big gap between Indian team right now. As I said, the best ever T20 squad ever assembled and rest of the team. So if rest of the team and the rest of the countries want to really catch up, they'll have to work on their cricket rather than criticizing the elements that were on offer, because the elements were the same for both teams. In fact, many might say batting tends to get easier on in Ahmedabad, and India batted first. Let's not forget, they lost the toss and they batted first. Now that we're on the subject of the pitch, I'd like to point out one other thing. Let this particular match serve as a reminder or serve as an example of what Indian cricket must do going forward. Because this game was played in Ahmedabad, our minds went to that 19th November game, that heartbreak in the final, or for that matter, that one loss that you have against South Africa in this tournament, the only loss that India had. What was common in those losses? You picked a black soil pitch, you kept it dry, and you ensured that it wasn't a great pitch to bat on for stroke makers. You tried to lay a trap for the opposition. What happened? It backfired. What did you do this time in the final? You realized your mistake. You said, no, Ahmedabad is also known for some good batting pitches. Let's have a good, true surface that is good for batting. Why? Because you back your strength. Right now, India has the best batting lineup in the world, plenty of match winners. You give them a good pitch, they'll always score more runs than the other team. Yes, you had a scenario like England where they came close, but yet India won on a good pitch in Mumbai as well. You were up against West Indies in the virtual quarterfinal in Kolkata. You came up with a good pitch, even though West Indies had a very intimidating batting lineup, yet you won. So the fact of the matter is, yes, other teams will get runs, but India has a better batting lineup. So why do you want to neutralize that advantage by coming up with those turners or dry pitches that you came up with? And secondly, your bowlers. You have a Jasprit Bumrah who doesn't need conditions. He'll be good in any pitch, even if it's a belter. Use that advantage. Don't neutralize it. So let this be a lesson going forward, not just in white ball cricket. This is the trap that we lay for other teams in red ball cricket, and we fall flat. Prepare good pitches. If you prepare good pitches, India will always score more runs than the opposition, and their bowlers also have a way of picking up wickets in those flat pitches. So this is the template. You need to go forward. Trust your instinct. Trust your strength. And finally, I will also want to take names of two essential members of this Indian team, the captain and the coach. Surya Kumar Yadav now in August's company. Rohit Sharma, Kapil Dev, MS Dhoni, now Surya Kumar Yadav, August's company. And I know he's coming. And why I want to speak about these two members, one Surya Kumar Yadav and the other will be Gautam Gambhir, because they come in for a lot of criticism. Surya Kumar Yadav, the criticism that he doesn't score in important matches. Today you ask him, or even before the tournament started, you asked him, you don't get any runs, but you win the trophy. He would have taken that. At the end of the day, you'll remember him for being the man who lifts that T20 World Cup trophy. He proved to be the true leader. The team rallies around him. The way he takes pressure from the rest of the team, the way he inculcated this aggression that I told you, or batting, without caring much for scoreboard pressure or the situation. All of these things come if you lead by example, and that's what he did. And the other thing that everyone mentions about Suryakumar Yadav, including his teammates, and you should always take their word for it, they don't call him captain, they call him leader. And I think that's the difference that he showed. The way he remained calm under tense situation, I see a bit of, I'm not saying his captaincy is like Dhoni or Rohit Sharma, but in terms of his nature, there is that casualness and sense of humor like Rohit Sharma, and there is this calmness like MS Dhoni. He brings both those qualities, and I think that is also one of the reasons that you are celebrating being world champions today. And finally, Gautam Gambhir. He gets a lot of criticism too. When there were changes in the team in this very tournament, or when Sanju Samson was sitting out, or when Washington Sundar came in, a lot of times Gautam Gambhir was criticized, even though it may not be his decision alone. Playing 11 decision, tactical decisions are taken by both the captain and the coach. But if Gautam was criticized, he was also previously criticized for test losses, which I think, if you don't do well, you will be criticized, which was fair. But by that same yardstick, now when you got things right, when you realize you had too many left-handers on top, you got a Sanju Samson back. When you realize that you needed to only bowl your 5 bowlers because 6 bowlers was a weak option, and learn to rotate those 5 bowlers. The captain did a great job of doing that. It's not an easy thing to do in the face of runs being scored, and then the coach also backing him in those decisions tactically. So for all of that, both Suryakumar Yadav and Gautam Gambhir, if you criticize them, then I think they deserve all the praise as well. And that is why they also get the credit for India becoming world champions. You, for the moment, celebrate. I will too, because it is a moment to celebrate. But tougher tests await for this Indian team going forward. What is going to be the future? Does Sky continue as captain? Who will be the next generation who will take over the mantle? Those are questions that we'll try and answer as we move along right here on Sports Today. For the moment, that's all that I have for you in my match report. Nikhilnaz signing off.